I don't think that science contradicts God at all. If anything, it'll prove God and show us how God works.
That's your feeling.
Yeah, it's my feeling, of course. That's my opinion. Yeah, I mean, I don't have any evidence for that, right? But I think that science. I mean, really, there's not much evidence in science. Everything you say is theories, right? I mean, it's based on what they see, right? There's really no proof.
No. Okay, let me just go down this.
If there was proof, it would be a theory. It would be a law.
Central. Let me just go down this really quick. Yeah. Hypothesis is based on observation. Hypothesis is a proposed explanation of how something works. We experimentally test it. If it shows to be correct to corroborate this, then it gets raised higher and higher, closer to what we call theory. Okay. So once it's at the theory level, we have high confidence, high credence in
right, but it's not proven. That's the point I'm trying to make.
It's the equivalent of saying
you never get to absolute.
We don't say proofs. We don't say proofs in science.
You just get closer and closer to what is most likely.
Real quick, Central, do you believe germs exist?
Yeah, I believe germs exist. Obviously,
one other theory.
How are germs a theory? Why can't it be
germ theory?
Right, but why can't germs be proven?
Well, it's kind of the same concept. It's the same concept in science. Like if you apply it to other fields of physics, for example, like gravity, electromagnetism, any of the forces, they have theories behind them. The biggest part of what a theory is you have some sort of phenomena that you're trying to explain that's been repeatedly proven, and you make models based off the observation. So a theory is just you're explaining X phenomena based on other facts or other bodies of knowledge of said phenomena. It's not really I just think it does this thing.
Mm-hmm. And then once you have a theory, once you're at that level, you can also predict other things, which then give you essentially the next hypothesis.
Right. You make falsifiable predictions. We can predict, and we can take a look and say, "Hey, are we right? Oh, we're right."
Right. So I'm sorry. When does a theory stop becoming a theory and starts becoming like law? Right.
So a theory is actually more powerful than laws. For example, we have Newton's gravity. That's just made Newton's law of gravity. So it's based on actual observations that can make mathematical predictions. It doesn't explain anything. A theory has explanatory power. Yes, correct. Explanatory power. So
but the reason why isn't string theory not string theory is a theory, but it's not accepted by all.
We just don't have enough evidence for it yet, which is why we don't say that this theory is.
But there's different levels of theory, right? And how they're accepted.
Well, here's the thing: string theory is more of a framework than it is a theory. That's the thing. It's more of a mathematical framework where mathematicians got a little, a little crazy. Yeah, they got a little excited. 10 dimensions. I think one says 22 dimensions now.
Hey, it's 11 dimensions. Okay.
Yeah. So string theory is more of a framework than it is a theory. Different versions of it. So if you're comparing string theory to gravity, they're radically different in terms of theories, because gravity has a really well-backed theory behind it, general relativity, and string theory, it's more of we have this framework that is encapsulated with this conglomerate of other frameworks. They're just complementary ideas.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, again, this is just my opinion that I know that science, I know, but in my opinion that I believe that science will eventually prove that there is a God and shows us how God works, right?
Why do you believe that, Central? Why do you believe that?
And a lot of the greatest scientists in our history were actually religious people.
Central, why do you believe that, please?
Why do I believe what?
Why do you believe that science will one day prove God?
Because the more we learn about science, the more we understand how things work, and the more we will understand, where our origin is from, and that's I think that how we will prove that there is a God or not. Right.
I think it seems like at that point, then we would be justified in believing in God, but before that point, we are not.
Okay.
Because it hasn't been shown to be true.
Of course. So I don't believe,
demonstrated.
Right. I believe in God based on evidence and my personal beliefs. Right. based on the evidence that I feel is enough for me to have my belief, right, and my personal faith, right. So I'm not trying to prove God scientifically.
Wait. Okay, I understand the evidence point. I'd ask you more specifically, but there's a lot of people here.
No,
But why do you apply faith at all for anything in life?
I mean, you kind of have to apply
Faith is an unjustified jump.
Well, no, I mean, you have to have faith. Don't you have faith in everything that you do? Like,
No,
when you get on a plane.
You have confidence and trust in things that you're justified to have those in. You do not have faith. Faith is an unjustified move.
Faith is another word for trust, by the way.
I was just going to ask.
They're much different in scale.
What is the definition of faith? Maybe I'm using the word wrong, though.
Look at this.
Mm.
Okay. In the top example, you have a certain amount of evidence, and then your conclusion is basically your hypothesis. But you cannot get over there because you don't have sufficient evidence. People use faith to jump that gap or leap that gap, but they shouldn't.
Faith in Greek means trust.
On the bottom, we have enough evidence to get close to the conclusion, and all we have is a small gap, and this is confidence or trust that we use on the bottom. The words are related, right? Faith and confidence is actually a etymologically related word, but they are vastly different in scale. We do not use faith anywhere but religion, so it is inappropriate. You can have confidence that your chair will still be there if you stand up and sit down again. You don't have to have faith because it's a reasonable thing. So why do you use faith to get to that conclusion as opposed to waiting for all the science to prove God and then believe in God?
Well, you said something about trust earlier, right?
I'm using
faith
trust.
Is another
I'm
word.
using trust as a synonym to confidence.
Okay.
Okay. So basically, you're saying faith should be belief with evidence. You're saying, or the opposite?
No,
belief
faith,
with.
ignore that word believance there. That's a different topic.
Okay.
Faith should never be used because faith is what people use to make unjustified leaps to a desired conclusion.
Okay.
They should not cross that gap if it's that big.
So should they use faith in marriage?
No. You use confidence, you use trust.
Mm-hmm. And what's faith another word for?
So, yeah, I just looked up the definition.
Faith is a word for... Go ahead. Read the definition.
I'm sorry. I just looked up the definition of faith. It says complete confident or trust in someone or something.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is complete trust. It is unjustified, though. That is the problem, is it is unjustified.
So, I can, just because it's unjustified doesn't mean that trust doesn't exist, right? So I could be wrong, but here's an analogy I'll give you. If someone cheats on you several times and you still choose to trust them, it might be unjustified, but you still have trust in that person, right?
Well, if you have trust in them, that's okay. If it's unjustified, then you're making basically a blind gamble.
Right. So why are you conceding that it's unjustified trust? Like the theist doesn't think it's unjustified. It is justified.
No, I'm not thinking it's unjustified. I'm thinking that based on the evidence that I have, right, based on my evidence, right, whether it be personal or whether it be, historical, whatever evidence that I have, right, I believe that I am justified in having faith in God.
No. Let me understand. Let me go a little bit more here. Central. You're on the bottom. You've got evidence. You've got some evidence, and you also have your personal experience. You said, right? So that's also going to count as evidence. Okay. Therefore, you're on the bottom. Now, your evidence may be wrong, but it is evidence to you. You believe it to be correct, so it is evidence to you. So you go to that conclusion via trusted confidence. You don't need to use faith. If you have evidence for yourself, then you're justified to go to the conclusion. Faith is never needed. Faith is going to the conclusion without sufficient evidence.
Well, faith is just complete trust or confidence in something or someone, based on the definition, right? Based on the definition in the English language.
It is confidence. Again, notice the scale. This is why I drew this diagram this way. This comes from a talk I did 10 years ago. This is why I drew this way. to demonstrate to you that you can have evidence. You can either have good evidence or bad evidence. But
Right.
if it's evidence to you, it is evidence. So you don't need to use faith, because you can use trust and confidence to get to the God conclusion. You may be wrong, but that is a valid conclusion for you. There's no need to use faith ever.
I'm sorry. Isn't faith synonymous to trust and confidence in something?
The words confidence derives from faith, or the other way around. I don't remember which. Etymologically, the FI in confidence comes from whatever the base word is for both of them.
Right.
But it's a difference in scale.
Okay. I don't mean to be redundant, but that's literally what the definition is.
Yeah. And I'm just saying the definition is fine, but it does not deal with the concept of justification. It is not justified. You can have belief. Knowledge is justified through belief. Okay. Justification only applies to you. Justification has to be sufficient for you.
Okay.
If you do not have justified belief, then you don't have knowledge.
Okay.
If you are unjustified and you still make that leap, that's a faith leap, and that is improper.
All right. So maybe based on like the colloquial English language, I'm using it in the wrong way, right? But so you're saying unjustified belief is faith, but justified belief would be like trust, or so, right? It would be belief, right? It wouldn't be. It's not faith, you're saying.
Well, it could be belief, because you believe your evidence,
right.
regardless of whether or not it's good evidence. But it's good to you. Otherwise, you wouldn't consider it true. If you believe it, you consider it to be true.
Right.
Evidence. So
I trust there is a God. So I trust that there is a God. I don't have faith that there is a God, because it's just I have my evidence and it's justified. So I don't need to use faith. All right.
Correct.